Morning, everyone. Welcome to Paleo 0 to 60, day 8 here. We're just going to do a quick check-in with my dad, talk about how it's been going. We've been tracking weights and body measurements. We've gone from 222 down to 213 today. We're actually on day 9 of tracking. We're a little behind the videos. So what we saw for the first week or so, actually first 5 days, was about 1 to 2 pound loss every day, and then it's since then slowed, and that's actually pretty typical. People in the first week will shed a lot of water weight, I'm fairly certain. I think it's a reduction in inflammation in your gut. This is my theory. I've heard some other people mention it as well. So you're losing inflammation, which basically means you're shedding some water weight from your irritated guts.
I would suspect too that if you look at what like omega 3 and 6 balances and some of those things do, that actually it's probably cellular inflammation, so it's probably all over your body actually.
Yes,
and that would fit with what
possible.
I've been feeling all over.
Yeah,
it's
definitely possible. So after that, it slowed a little bit. We had a half pound loss, and then we had 3 days where it was about the same. It was hanging around 215, and so we actually talked last night. That was the last 3 days. To say, okay, well, what are we going to do about this if it does get stuck there and sort of plateau?
And I recognize that this weight of 215 for me is a weight that I sustained for a lot of years. So it is a homeostatic set point for me metabolically. So it wants to stick there because it remembers it, so to speak. And
that would make some sense. So the stuff we're thinking about in terms of that is, one, maybe it doesn't mean anything because we did get some body composition changes. So when we're looking at our measurements, the bicep and the quad had actually gotten larger, which meant we had some muscle gain, because those are fairly lean areas. And then the waist and the chest had gone down in weight, or in circumference. So that indicated we were losing fat, and we were possibly gaining some muscle, which would mean, yeah, that's right, we'll be flexed every episode. Which would mean that even though the weight's staying the same, we're losing fat and gaining muscle. So
I noticed that even though both of us shaved this morning, there's something going on too.
A lot of testosterone. Yeah. So maybe it's not a problem that you're not losing weight. I mean, weight is not an ideal measurement, but it's a proxy. So some other stuff we could possibly do to sort of kick that and break it out of that stasis point would be some exercise, maybe. That's a little hit or miss because sometimes exercise will just cause you to eat more because your body's really good at sort of maintaining that calorie stasis. But if you haven't exercised very much recently, it will kind of snap you into let's burn calories. And then if you're not as hungry because you're eating lower carb, you'll end up you'll raise your calorie burn and you'll keep your calories in about the same, might go up a little bit. The other possibility is to lower the amount of calories in, which should be easier. I wasn't at all worried about amount of calories or for the first week or so, or even now continuing, as long as we're seeing weight loss, because we're getting those hormonal changes, it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to just keep low calories in and high calories out. That model's a little naive in that it doesn't take hormones into account. So if we can balance insulin, get leptin working again, your body will sort itself out. It's supposed to do that. It's good at doing that.
And that fits with what's been sort of happening naturally for me because I find myself actually eating a little bit less at meals. I don't feel like I desperately need to eat. My body doesn't feel that all over hunger anymore. In fact, most of the time I really don't feel hungry. And I find myself drinking a lot more liquid.
That's good.
Green teas and some coffee, black coffee, and it just feels like the thing to do. Jeff didn't coach me on that. I didn't read that anywhere. It's just sort of, when I have that natural feel, I've just gone with it, and it seems like that's a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, when you're eating the right kinds of food, your body, most of the time, this won't happen to everyone, most of the time will sort of sort itself out. And then if it doesn't, you can do some of those tricks we just mentioned, and there's other stuff as well. We'll talk about coffee later. We did discuss the coffee and said it was okay. It kept him sane, kept him functioning, so we're going to let it slide. All right, guys. Have a good day.